After 2 years of living and traveling in our self-converted Sprinter van, we decided to settle down and start a family. Now we build out custom van conversions for clients here out of our custom crafted van shop in Boise, Idaho. On the van build series, we're converting a 2019 159 Extended Promaster for our clients Michele and David. On this week's episode, we're picking out upholstery and showing you exactly how we do our plumbing in a van. We are heading to Joann's to go pick up the upholstery for the Promaster right now. We actually love going to Joann's because they have great upholstery options there, and it's super affordable because they're always running sales. So we buy our fabric from Joann's, and then we always have paid somebody to make the cushions for us, which now that we're in Boise, it's Alex's mom who's doing the upholstery, which she is amazing. She did the cushions in our house for our little bench area, our little breakfast nook, and they look so good, so much better than who we had doing them in San Diego. So we're excited to kind of take that up a notch. So we'll show you guys what we're gonna pick out. It's actually similar to what was in our last van. So it's nice that we do Joann's too, because then clients are all over the country for us, so they can go to the Joann's near them, kind of go look and see what they have and pick stuff out, and then we can get it at our local Joann's. So that's what we're doing today. And we got this little dude in tow. There he is. Did you find it?
Woo! Now I found our last one.
It says it's in stock. So yeah, you want to make sure you go to this back section with all these big rolls of upholstery. That's where it's at.
That is where it's at.
I found it. It's this bottom one. You want to show them our old one? So it's the same as we had in our van, except for we had the turquoise. So one thing we always recommend is don't do something that's too bold or patterny, because you might get sick of it.
Like this. I really intended this.
Pick
Yes.
something simple, and then you can always do accent pillows too.
Something like this.
Yeah.
Or this. Or any of these.
Yeah, that gray one's pretty. Both of those gray ones. Like I was saying, definitely pick something that's a little bit more neutral. It can have a small pattern on it, but bold, bright colors, typically for upholstery, don't look all that great in a van. And if you want to do bright pops of color, you can always do that with accent pillows and stuff on the walls or paint or that kind of stuff. So that's always what I recommend. So we always go pretty neutral on the cushions. And then the other thing you're going to want to buy are zippers. So we always buy it just on a roll, because then it makes it really easy to cut it to length. And then you can have zippers on your upholstery so that you can take them off and wash them, which you're gonna wanna do every couple of months because they do get dirty. So that's it for now. Vance is down for a nap, so I'm gonna head out to the shop. In this video, we're gonna talk about plumbing. It's gonna be pretty technical because I know Alex wants to do pretty in-depth video on the plumbing, and I'm just smiling because I'm looking at Vance, trying to pull it up for you guys on our little camera we have of him. So cute. So I'm trying to clean the house. I gotta like work in shifts because he naps for like an hour and a half, 2 hours a lot of the time, and then I have to feed him again. So I have to like work in like 2-hour shifts, which is a challenge sometimes, but we're doing pretty good with it. So, and it's also pouring rain today. So I'm gonna head out here to the shop, see what he's doing. Yeah, it's like crazy dark out today. You still got the AC running? It's not even hot.
It was hot here.
It's not hot. It's freezing in here.
Feels good.
What you doing?
You know, just working away. Dan Patrick just made his Super Bowl picks and he didn't pick the Steelers. I'm a little upset about that, but that's okay.
Oh my gosh. They play what, this Sunday? Today, this video is gonna come out.
Sunday.
Because it is Friday today. Happy Friday, babe. You ready to talk plumbing and benches? And I don't think we've told them the modified layout on this, what was the Outdoorsman.
Well, they better catch up then.
Yeah, we got some updates, guys. Some pretty exciting updates. A new layout that we've never done before. So let's get into it. Most days you can find Alex here, crouched in the back.
Yep, I like to crouch.
So this actually brings up a great point that I think we've talked about on Instagram before. A lot of people wonder why not use the back benches for storage? And we really like to use that more as like utility space for the plumbing and the electrical, because
where else are you gonna put it?
not only that, but it's not easy storage to get to. No. You're gonna have your mattress or cushions on top of the benches, and so it's really kind of a pain to get into. It's not easy. It's not as easy as like opening a drawer or upper cabinet to like move all this stuff around to get to it.
100%.
So we always like to use these as like utility space, not storage space.
Yep. And a lot of people do put their plumbing underneath the vehicle, like their freshwater tank. We do not do that, so that all of our vans can be 4-season friendly. So you can take this up into the mountains in the winter and you don't have to worry about your freshwater tank freezing underneath the van. So we usually utilize the passenger, which is this one, passenger bench for electrical, and the driver's bench for plumbing.
Man, I started working out again and my arms are so sore that it's hard to hold the camera. Not kidding, I'm like gonna start shaking soon. So the update on the layout is we're kind of doing a mix between our outdoorsman layout and our beach house layout, and Alex is putting in the piece right now to do a little test fit. So we'll show you guys what we're talking about, how we're kind of mixing this up, making like a mini garage so that they can slide in skateboards. They have like a scooter they want to be able to store, and this is like going to be the perfect compromise for them. One of the reasons why we ended up switching this is because the Promaster 159 extended is a lot shorter than the 170, and it was just feeling very small in here. So we kind of talked to our clients and made the decision to not do the full platform because it was going to make it feel even smaller.
Yeah.
So here's the compromise.
The Outdoorsman was designed for solo guys who both had $10,000 mountain bikes that they didn't want to keep outside on the back of their van all the time. That's why that design came into existence. This didn't make sense for them. That was not what they were trying to do. It was skateboards, it was an electric scooter, so we designed storage that maximizes all of the space and allows them to store that gear in the van.
Yeah, because the biggest thing is in order to access any kind of garage, you have to open up your back doors, which again, just like the benches, isn't always the most functional storage space because you have to go outside of your van. So if it's like late at night and something's in your garage that you want, you have to like go all the way around outside, open up your back doors to access that. So here's the compromise, little mini tiny garage in between the benches.
Yeah, so it's 7 inches tall and about 26 inches across. So plenty of space for skateboards, an electric scooter. You could even, if you were a solo person, had a surfboard, you could fit a surfboard in there.
Now I know the other thing people are gonna say is why not do a slide out tray? Well, the reason why we don't like building in slide out trays into such a small garage space is because a tray would elevate that storage space a couple inches, so it would take up a couple inches of the height, and then same with the width. So then they'd have like 4 inches by this width, and it would
end up being like a 20 inches wide by like 4 inches tall.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no.
You don't need it.
And Alex is rocking them dad socks and shoes today.
Yeah, Sarah put me on blast with these shoes. She hates these, but I was actually at Lowe's today getting some plumbing fittings, and the lady working at Lowe's was like, those shoes are really awesome. Those are great. They look super comfortable. It's like, yeah, I'll tell my wife you said so.
No, they're just not.
Zumaracha!
All right.
Here's a little sneak peek of their shower fixtures. So obviously there's gonna be a handle in that. We're going for a little bit of a different style. So instead of doing, what are those called? The things that stick out from the wall?
Like a shower arm head?
Yeah, basically. This will be where the shower water comes through, obviously, to the hose. But you guys, these are great to do a hose because then you can take it off and go like this in the shower and, you know, spray your body up and down. It's great.
Talk about plumbing. We're going to show you how I run the plumbing lines in a van in a minute, but first let's talk about the components that we use. This is a question a lot of people have. For the majority of the cold and hot water lines, we use PEX, P-E-X. This is 1/2 inch diameter PEX. So the blue is for cold, the red is for hot. It is rated for high temps. So if you're using a hot water heater, you want to make sure that you're using the red PEX for anything coming from your hot water heater. They make the blue, and they also make a white, which you can use for a cold water line as well. So in order to cut this stuff, you're gonna want something like this. It's a PVC or a PEX cutter. These do get old, they don't get as sharp, and you wanna make sure that you have a sharp one when you're cutting your PEX. After you cut it, you're also gonna need this little handy dandy tool. So after you make your cut, then it has different holes for different sizes of all the different PEX. You actually will put this in and spin it around, and it'll take off all the barbs and the sharp miscuts or burrs around the edge of the pipe, so that when you fit it into the shark bite fitting, you have a really clean connection and you're not gonna have a leak. I have never had a leak with these shark bite fittings. These actually were just approved to go behind walls in homes, in residential construction. So these are kind of like the next big thing in plumbing. They're really cool. All you're gonna do is you're gonna push it in and then pull out slightly. It goes in about a 1/2 inch. And they make all sorts of fittings. This is a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch elbow, PEX to PEX. This is a PEX shutoff valve for the 1/2 inch PEX as well. So I put these on all of my cold water and hot water lines, both going to the shower as well as going to the sink, so that I can shut off the water that's going to the shower or shut off the water that's going to the sink on both the cold and the hot water lines. Coming from the tank going to the pump, you actually cannot use rigid pipe right next to the pumps. It will break, it will crack over time. So we use a 1/2 inch ID braided nylon hose. So it's 3/4 inch outside diameter, 1/2 inch inside diameter. And you use these handy dandy little barb fittings to go into the braided nylon hose. And as you can see right here, this is a 3-way that's going to be coming off of my pump. So I have the barb going into the braided nylon hose, and then I have this hose clamp going over it. And you can actually take a heat gun and go over this real quickly, and it'll help bond this to the fitting that much more to help prevent leaks. If you're setting up your system, this is probably the first time you do it, the one place that you will have leaks, and just make sure that you tighten these fittings down. Don't tighten them too tight that you start to deform the metal on these clamps, but you do want to tighten them enough that it's going to give you a good seal. And again, the heat gun is a nice trick on this. So this 3-way is actually going to be coming off of my pump, excuse me. So my pump is going to be mounted here, and I'm going to be running to this 3-way where I'm going to have one line that's going to my hot water heater, and then this line is going to eventually run and turn into my cold water PEX line that's going to go and eventually 3-way off to my sink or to my shower. So I use quite a bit of this. Again, they have great fittings that you can use for this. So this is just a 1/2 inch female shut-off ball valve. So I use this as my drainage system because I always set up a master drain so that I can drain my tank. Just in case I get bad water, I'm working on my system, I can park on an incline and drain the whole tank out and empty it. So I'm going to set this up in line with my plumbing as that drain. It's a lot of information to cover. I'm going to do my best to walk you guys through it, but at the end of the day, I always recommend that you do a full diagram of your plumbing system. This is one of the first things that I really struggled with on our very first van build, because you literally need to, and I'm going to say literally like 10 more times just because I can, you need to make a list of all of the fitting and connections that you need to make from your tank all the way to the end of your system. And so just to give you an example, coming off of our tank, it's a 1/2 inch female pipe thread. So I need a 1/2 inch male pipe thread going to a 1/2 inch internal diameter barb fitting. That's then going to go to a 1/2 inch internal diameter braided nylon hose that has to have a 1/2 inch clamp on it. Then from there, I'm going to a 1/2 inch internal diameter 3-way barb fitting. Off of that, I'm going to my drain, or I'm running off of that and going up to my pump, which my pump also has a 1/2 inch internal diameter barb fitting on it, which will need a clamp coming off of the other side. Another 1/2 inch internal diameter barb fitting, going to more braided nylon hose, going to another 3-way on my cold water line coming off of that.
Oh my gosh, does anybody else feel this way? He's done this a few times, so if you feel a little overwhelmed.
But this is what I'm saying, make that list, because if you don't make a list, then you're gonna make 30 trips to Home Depot and Lowe's and Ace Hardware, and honestly, Amazon, and you're probably gonna need a combination of all of those stores in order to find everything that you need, and you're probably not gonna find some stuff that you need, so you might need to do some creative plumbing and maybe use like a 1/2 inch coupling or a 1/2 inch nipple to make it work, because you can't find the specific size fitting that you're looking for in a male or a female.
You can also ask the people at Home Depot, because in the beginning, that's what you did.
You know, we've had very limited success with that. I think that 5 years ago you might have had a better option, but now
they think you're crazy.
All they're gonna do is pull out their phone, most of them, unless there's like an old dude with a beard working in the plumbing section.
Yeah, go for the old guy.
Go talk to that guy. He's probably gonna know what he's talking about. So yeah, now let's show you how we take all of this and translate it into the van.
Okay, wait, one last thing. Do you want to talk about what you have on the table there?
So this, we get a lot of questions about our gray water system. So we drill holes through the floor of the van, and we run usually 3/4 inch ID braided nylon hose as our drain systems. Again, you want just a little bit of a thicker hose so that from your sink you have food that's going down a shower, you want it to drain quickly. So we use 3/4 inch, run it through the floor to our gray water tanks, which are 5-gallon gray water tanks that we place underneath the van. And on that we put this, which is a 1/2 inch, this is a 3/4 inch ball valve. So we're going to connect this to the tank. We're going to wire it to a 12-volt switch panel that we put inside the van, so that in order to empty the gray water tanks, all you have to do is flip a switch and dump responsibly where you can, or always dump responsibly. But that way you don't have to get underneath the van to dump your tanks. You can just flip a switch. It's pretty cool. Thanks, Scott. He actually gave us that idea one day over beers in San Diego when we were building.
Yeah, I bet he'll do that in his next van.
Yeah, so take credit for stuff that I can, but can't take credit for that. Scott, comes with a view. Thanks, buddy. This is the freshwater tank that we are installing in this van. It's a 33-gallon freshwater tank. This is it with the final fittings put on. So at the bottom here, this is my output. So this is what is going to be going to my pump. So like I said, I'm going to have a 3-way coming off here so that I can drain my tank anytime that I need to. It also has this 1.5 inch an 1.5 inch female pipe thread that I'm not going to be using on the bottom because I don't need it, so I don't cut this out. Up top, it has another 1.5 inch, which I am using. And so this 1.5 inch, I'm taking down to 3/4 inch barb because I'm going to use a 3/4 inch braided nylon hose for my fill for this tank. So as you can see, they don't make just one piece that goes 3/4 inch barb to 1.5 inch male pipe thread, which is what I need. So instead, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different fittings that I've had to put together. And I don't use PVC glue for this because I like to be able to have the option of taking this off if I need to. But for this fill, I always use my standard plumbing solution is go heavy on the putty, and I also use pipe tape as well. So I put a little bit of putty on all the way around, and then I wrap my pipe tape usually 4 times around. And with that combination, I haven't had any leaks out of my pipe thread fittings. And then on this fitting over here, this is actually my vent. So the only thing that this is doing is allowing air to come into the tank as you're using and pumping water out of the tank. And when you're filling the tank, it's allowing air to come out of the tank as you're putting water into it. So I'm gonna have a 3/8 inch hose coming off of this that's also gonna go to the outside of the van. That's it.
Yes, through a hole in the floor,
Yeah.
just in case that wasn't clear.
Yeah, and so after I put these on, this bottom one especially, I do come over this with some JB Weld just to make sure, because this is such a crucial point on your tank, you don't want this to leak. So just as a little bit of extra insurance, I do go over this with some JB Weld. All right, so plumbing install is completed in the back, so I'm gonna walk you guys through how we test our plumbing after it's all installed. I have connected our pump, which is coming off over here because it's gonna be connected eventually to a switch panel. A 12-volt switch panel with a switch on it. I've connected it to one of our 12-volt Battleborn 100 amp hour lithium batteries, and I've gone ahead and put a switch on here so that I can actually shut the pump on and off as I'm testing out the system. So you can see everything is connected over here. All of my plumbing is good to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn the pump on, and I'm going to wait for this system to pressurize, meaning as long as the pump is running, the system is still pressurizing, and I'm looking for leaks anywhere, but especially where I have barb fittings, which are these fittings with the hose clamps on them, because that is where you are most prone to leakage in these systems. I'm also looking at any of my pipe thread fittings. I'm also looking at any of my shark bite fittings, but those are probably going to be the safest fittings that you have and the least likely to
leak. The whole system is pressurized, the pump is shut off. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is test out my shower valve and continue to get the pump to run by running some water through the shower. So my pump is still on, which I have my switch right here. I can shut off if I need to, but now I'm going to go ahead and test the water coming through the shower mixer. Home Depot bucket. I have a straight shower arm on this right now, so it's going to come out with some force. Getting all that water out of the lines. Told you, it's gonna get a little wet. I've let that run just a little bit of spray, and I'm just gonna test to make sure that I don't have anything leaking back here. So you can hear the pump is shut off again because the system again has pressurized, and I still don't have any leaks at any of the fittings. It's always nice just to go through and just put a finger on them just to make sure that there's no water dripping anywhere, but looking good. Now I'm going to test the hot water heater by just plugging that in and letting that heat up, and then I'll test that coming through the shower. Hot water heater is tested, working great. That's 2 thumbs up, no leaks. So now we are ready to go ahead, start putting the foam backer board up in this bathroom, do our red guard treatment on it, and we're gonna be tiling this thing before you know it. And with that, hope that you guys really enjoyed all of these plumbing tips. There's a ton of different ways you can do this. There's lots of great resources out there. I hope that this is one of those great resources for you that gives you some more information on how you can install plumbing in your van. Please leave us your questions, comments down below. We do cover more details on this in our van layout guide, which is also linked below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you as always for watching. For all of you that subscribe, we really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more van build, van life, van life content. And until next time, we'll see you guys.